Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Bookish Clan. My name is Emmanuel, and of course, today, as always, I have the Texas Mommy G.O. here in the studio with me. Sonia, even your side eye cannot kill me.
It will burn through those glasses.
How are you doing?
Bombastic side eye.
Ancestral side eye.
I'm doing very fine. It's obviously very, very lovely to be here for another episode of the Bookish Clan. Last week was super amazing. We're booked like proper hibiscus. That was to be expected. The conversation was almost unending, but I'm happy to be here for another one.
I'm not sure I am over the book yet, and the characters as well. I know I hated Papa, for example, but I miss him at this point.
But I feel like our readers, I hope some people have actually been able to read it.
They should though.
Since it's last time you heard, and maybe you've been able to catch up on some things and feel what we heard.
You cannot be a part of the Bookish Clan and not be bookish.
You have to be reading, You have to read your books. In Nigerian parents, but read your books.
I can imagine Papa saying that to Campbell.
You don't want to read.
Anyway, last week we discussed a fiction book, and like we said, we'll do fiction, non-fiction, even though there is no guarantee that we'll continue in that manner. But today we're discussing non-fiction, and it is called Atomic Habits by James Clear. You know what atom is? If you didn't do science in school, you know what atom? Atom. Little tiny.
We said the atom like it's an English word, and you just know that's what it means.
Anyway, Atomic Habits was written by James Clear. Let's allow Sonia to tell us who James Clear is before we proceed to the rest of our conversation today. Sonia.
All right, so James Clear is obviously the author of this book, Atomic Habits, that we're going to be talking about today. He's the author of the #1 New York Times bestseller, Atomic Habits, which has sold more than 15 million copies worldwide. His work has been featured in places like Time Magazine, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and on CBS This Morning. In addition to writing, he's a regular speaker at Fortune 500 companies. Previous clients of his include Capital One, Cisco, General Electric, Honda, Intel, LinkedIn, Lululemon, McKinsey and Company, and Merrill Lynch, among many clients. He's obviously a very busy man.
It's giving, put some respect on my name. Actually, he has a lot in his back. Actually,
that Uncle James Clear.
Imagine if James Clear was a Nigerian.
James Clear. Do you know who I am? Do you know where I've spoken?
He'll be carrying shoulder.
I've spoken in LinkedIn. I've spoken in Cisco, and you dare to call me by my name.
But the man is such a simple man. I follow him on Twitter. Do you?
No, I do not follow him.
You need to. And he has this newsletter. I think 321.
But I think I would. Yeah, because I said something about
he used to dish out wisdom.
I think we love it to subscribe to the newsletter. All those your early mornings and you're scrolling through your mail.
I have a lot. Maybe one day we'll take our time and discuss some amazing newsletters that people should subscribe to. Because if you're bookish, but as well love newsletters and some of those things they share on those newsletters. Well, let's move on to about the book. It's called Atomic Habits, and it is like an all-inclusive book that shows you how to change your habits one step at a time. Tidbits, little actions you can take to become better. You don't have to do big things. Atomic Habits, little changes, maximum results, or big results. I don't want to give a long, let's say, history of that book. That's just what the book is all about. And you need to get a copy. If you've not read it,
grab your copy now.
Nollywood.
Grab your copy now.
But Sonia, what was your first impression of Atomic Habits?
Okay, I think for me, I really loved how the book is kind of a book that you just read and there's wisdom everywhere. It was like every page you have something to dish out, and it wasn't the kind of motivational book that you'd read and you feel like the author was trying to just come in very strongly and make you feel like
all the acquire to perspire to inquire.
And it wasn't making you feel like as if you've not been doing anything with your life so far. It's just so amazing. It's like wherever you are right now, you can start and build up habits to become who you want to be. So my first impression was just simple, easy, and it compels you to want to read more. You mean if I do like this, I can become like this? Okay, let me get to know why. Let me read more. So it was just that kind of book.
And I loved how he used personal stories, experiences.
Yes. In fact, I think the first chapter of the book kind of started with an introduction to what has happened to him to lead him to the point of discovering what Atomic Habits was. So if you find reading non-fiction very difficult, the way he started would sort of make you like, okay, let's see where this is going. Because he had that storytelling effect. Even every chapter, he kept on backing every chapter with his story, with his story, with his story, something about this person, about that person.
And he has kind of applied these principles to his own life.
Yes.
They are working for him. They're working for his close friends and family. So he's here, or he has actually written this book to help you discover those principles that has worked for him that might work for you as well. So let's start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
How or why tiny changes make a big difference. Sonia, I love that first story he told in chapter 1, I think, about the British team, cycling team anyway, how they were losing and losing and losing, and just how they employed someone. And he didn't kind of make drastic changes
At once.
Yeah.
I mean, so
just make
overwhelming.
little things like what you're wearing, how you're sleeping, just little changes here and there.
Their diet. Just even like the tires, I think the tires of their bicycle.
Yeah.
Just all those, is this better? Then let's try this. And it was just so many little changes. I mean, like the tiniest of change you can think about, like saying, okay, I don't want to spend 10 minutes on social media anymore, I'm spending 9 minutes. It was that tiny, that was how tiny the changes were. But at the end of the day, because there were so many tiny changes, it amounted to so much and made such a great change.
Yeah, that leads to, you know how we say that if you become 1% better every day, by the end of a year, you become 37% better. But if you become 1% worse, that you don't make efforts, you don't change anything, by the end of 1 year, you'll be at 0. So that's atomic changes or habits now, for example.
Works both ways.
Yeah.
Both for like good things and for bad things. So you could literally be making 1% changes for like good things, and you're like so much better at the end of the year. And in the same way, you're just thinking, it's like that hope, it's just small now, it's not that serious. It's just small, it's not that serious. And then you're like, is this me now?
Yeah. So I think of atomic habits as, let's say you are a wood breaker, you have an axe, you're trying to break a wood, you keep hitting it, hitting. Maybe by the time you get to the 28th hit, it breaks into two. But it's not that last hit that broke the wood. It's all of those little hits from the beginning.
That amount to something.
Yeah, so habits accumulate over time. Little changes here and there, they accumulate to make those big changes you see in your life, in the way you speak, in the way you act, in the way just how your life is shaped eventually. Just those tiny little changes. That's how you should think about atomic habits if we follow James Clear anyway.
But I think it's because like the way he makes it highlights the need to be patient.
Yeah.
Because you can't rush habits. Because many people just go into it thinking, if today I decide I'm going to spend only 10 minutes on WhatsApp on WhatsApp tomorrow, I'm sure even without monitoring it, I can keep doing it. You have to like do it little and be patient with yourself. I think he called something about the plate 2 of plate of potential?
Yeah.
The kind of like sort of the value of latent potential, something like that. The kind of amount of time you have to wait, or you just have to like keep on amounting those little changes until you finally just reaches somewhere, and then it suddenly becomes a part of you, a second habit. So everybody has to be patient when you're trying out new habits, when you're trying to like start new things. Just give it time. Keep on going. It will eventually mount up to a point where it just becomes second nature.
Yeah. Now, there's a point of this book that I really enjoyed where he talked about goals and systems.
Definitely.
Yeah, because when you are trying to create a new habit or break a bad habit, some people set goals. They say, this week I'm not going to eat junk food, I'm going to cook 2 times and all of that. So there's a difference between setting goals and the systems. Your goal is like the end point they're looking at. While system are like the processes that lead to that end point. So you should set systems and not goals. Yeah. And he gave like 4 differences between people that set systems and people that set goals. So for example, he said that everyone sets goals. Everyone, whether you fail or you succeed, you set goals. What makes the difference is that the path you took makes a difference. Yeah. And that's one of the very first points he raised about systems and goals. I also talked about how goals cut down on your happiness. Imagine wanting to break a habit and you say, if I don't do this, I'll not be happy. You tie your joy, your happiness to...
It's like destination, you call it destination happiness. They value like that way.
Yeah.
That means you're constantly waiting to be happy when you finally reach somewhere, when you finally get somewhere. So you're not even like seeing your progression, your progress as anything to celebrate. So it's like, even if today instead of spending, I keep using social media. Like, I think that's one of the things many people are trying to like cut and everything. So it's like, okay, I want to start spending less time on social media. Let's say you spend like an hour, and so you found a way to spend 40 minutes. But because your final goal is 20 minutes, you're sad. You don't even take cognizance of the fact that, oh, you're actually able to cut down 15 minutes, which is actually progress for someone who has been spending a whole hour daily.
Yeah.
So what James Carr is just literally telling us is that systems make you value
and enjoy the process.
Yeah, enjoy the process much better. Because if you keep on focusing too much on goals, it can even get tiring. You keep on trying and you're thinking, I wanted to like do this today, because you didn't do that today, you suddenly give up.
Yeah.
But the systems are like, okay, how can I get there? What can I do to ensure that happens? So by focusing more on the systems, in fact, you end up even doing much better than the goal.
you expected. Yeah.
Much better. You reach it, you crush it, you do more. It becomes a habit, a lifestyle for you to just, want to improve on things daily.
Yeah, and that aligns with the simple goal of this book, little changes,
maximum
results. Yeah, the third point I want to raise about that systems and goals is how habits can change things only for the short term. Let's say, for example, if you're trying to lose weight and you go for a weight loss surgery, gastric sleeve, gastric this one, and all of that. If you don't change your eating habits, for example, you'll soon go back to your previous weight, become obese if you don't work on your eating pattern, your eating habits. So you should focus on changing your systems and not the goal.
Because at the end of the systems are the things that will sustain anything you're doing. When you get to that goal, you must have good systems that sustain. I think even give the idea of money, that you might be wealthy now, but if you don't have good systems, you will soon
good
go
spending
back.
habits.
Yes, go back to
managerial skills
compared to someone who might not have a lot now, but because they have good systems in place of saving, buying important things, they will end up wealthy compared to you who had a lot at first, and then it all just goes to nothing.
Yeah. Now the fourth point about systems and goals, this one is very important, is how when you set goals and not systems, you tend to relax. Maybe if you want to make, let's say you are an entrepreneur, you say I want to make $5,000 this month. If you want to achieve that $5,000 mark, you just relax. I've achieved my goal. But when you set systems, system will spur you to go beyond that particular. There's no limit to what a system can achieve.
Yes.
There's no limit to system, but goals limit you, somehow, because you just focus on that. Once you achieve that, you relax, and then you're no longer making efforts to become better. And before you know it, you get back to square zero, if there's something like that, square one. So yeah, that's very important. Well, yeah, moving on, Sonia. Let's talk about habits and identity.
That was a very, very interesting one. I think he told us something about how there are two major kinds of change. Three levels of changes in the habits and identity. He mentioned the identity change, outcome change, and process change. And how some people start from the deepest level, obviously the identity level. Outcome is the result. Process is what you take to get the outcome. Some people work from the outcome to identity. Some work focusing on their identity. And identity is a huge part and a huge factor to affect saying what would happen with our habits. When you start working on your person on the inside, focusing on habits in terms of this is who I am, not this is what I want to get. When you focus more on you as a person, becoming what you want to be instead of what you want to achieve, you get your habits actually much faster, and they are more lasting. Because we are thinking, okay, this week I'm going to end up brushing my teeth, and then at night you're like, oh, I'm tired today, I'm tired tomorrow. This one, give excuses. But when you tell yourself, I'm the person that is very hygienic when it comes to my teeth. There's just a way you say. It's like saying, I'm someone that will never steal.
Yeah.
No matter what, I would never steal. That is an identity thing. Yeah. Then there's a person saying, this week I'll just try to not steal. I'll just try. But the onus just gets, when the onus is on you as a person and not on a thing, it's just much greater. You're just more likely to follow through with a habit when it's on you than a thing, than an outcome. So it just has to focus more on the identity than the outcome. You don't want to smoke anymore. Focus on saying, I'm not a smoker. I'm not a person that smokes. Than, I'll just try to not smoke this week.
It works for any aspect of your life. If you're a student, for example, you want to become a better reader, identify as I am a reader. I read. I'm a person that reads. Don't just say I will read.
Because it also shapes our processes.
Exactly.
Because when you begin to identify, when you begin to look at your habits more from an identity point, it shapes what you do. It's like, okay, if I'm a person that aces my exams, I'm a person that comes out top of the class, would I do this? it begins to make you think about your habits from an identity point, not an outcome. Because outcomes can become very tiring, very boring, and most of the time, to be honest, we end up
outcomes can change.
definitely,
It's dynamic.
yeah. But when it's more of an identity thing, you can say, okay, as a student who aces her exams, would I be sleeping by this time? Wouldn't I be reading? Everything begins to question everything from the mirror of who am I and what the person I am. Would I be doing this or wouldn't I be doing this?
That's very important. You know, there was something he mentioned at the beginning of I think the second chapter, third chapter, where he said that reasons why habits are difficult to break or even to form. He said that most people focus either on changing the wrong habit or taking the wrong process of changing that habit. So if you're watching us right now, you need to, like we said, focus on the process, don't not just set a goal, and also change the right habits. And the right thing here is to focus on your identity. Begin to identify as that person you want to be. Don't just say that you would do something. Identify as someone who does that thing. But like you said, from a standpoint of identity, and from there it begins to make sense to you as you proceed. And well, that leads us to the 4 laws of behavior change.
The craving.
The response and the reward.
CCRR. You know, it's like back in the days when you were in school, you're trying to remember this. Okay, C square, R square. I don't know if you ever did that.
Do you do Mr. Niger D? Have you ever heard about
that? We did it for, I think, about something about the body.
Yeah.
Mobility, respiration, death. I don't know if they said death.
That D that means death. I don't know.
But yeah, so this is like CCRR. C square, R square. I don't know how you want to do it, but that's it. So
I love that one.
C square, R square. Like you can't forget.
Q, craving, response, and reward. Okay. So those are the 4 laws of behavior change. If you can get this 4, you are, in fact, we are done today.
Any habit should be easy for you to develop over time.
To break.
Develop and break.
But this book is not about forming new habits. So if you want to break any bad habits, these 4 laws can also work for you.
Definitely.
Because we get there now, how we talked about.
I'll talk about in the reverse.
Yes.
To make it what you want.
You can reverse any of the laws to work for you in any way. It just depends on what you want at a particular time. So the Q he says it signals the brain to take action.
Yes.
And the craving is the desire or reason that drives
motivation
that drives the actions. And of course the response is response.
The action, what you do when you've gotten like the desire to do what you want.
And the reward, what happens after your response.
Which is usually just the habits that forms.
So that brings us to the 4 habits and the 4 laws again. You know how if you want to form a new habit, for example, how do you form it? From these 4 laws now.
Yes.
James Clear says the first one is make it obvious.
Make it obvious.
I love how he gave this example of, I think it's more like a convenience store or something. I'm not sure now. That wanted to improve how people take water. So they had like usually they had like a whole, like the fridge was full of soda. So they had to like, you know what we're gonna do? We're going to like lots of water. Then every single place there's water. So it was like anywhere you turn, water bottles, water. And I think he gave like even like correct as in proper statistics in numbers. How I think he moved up by 37%. Exactly.
Something like that.
It changed drastically. How people that usually take soda, but because they're not seeing water so often, water became so fierce that then that kind of it gave their brain that signal, the cue that okay, this is what I need because it's so obvious. So it can also work with your habit, for example. If you want to run every morning, make it obvious. Let's say your
running shoes by the bed.
Exactly.
Once you get up, just see your running shoes there.
If you want to drink water every morning, why not put the water in a water bottle at night, keep it close to your bedside. Once you wake up, you are seeing the water bottle there. You just make it obvious.
And it still works for the reverse. If you're trying to not do something, you have to like make it invisible. I think that's the word he used.
Make it invisible.
So basically, if you're a smoker, you're hiding all the cigarettes. You're also, I think eventually we're going to get to the point of how environment obviously affects habits.
We can talk about it now.
Okay, we'll talk about it now, So like basically your environment will also affect your habits because what you're seeing basically, it's very, very funny. It's still the same thing with the convenience store and water bottles. What you're seeing has a way of just, you internalize it, and before you know, it's like a song. You listen to a song and you're not even planning to listen to it, and then you're back at home and you're humming and you're like, when did I listen to this? Where did I hear it from? It's the same thing. What you're viewing, what you're constantly like beholding, is kind of what you eventually become.
Because those senses are like the window to your brain. Somehow, unconsciously, They register the things you see and hear.
Yeah.
It works with habits. The things you see around you can influence your habits, whether in the good or in the
In
negative
a bad way. So if you're trying to like maybe become a runner, you might want to also try to be in an environment where there are a lot of runners, join a community of runners. It's even the same thing. I remember someone saying something about when he was trying to get into the artificial intelligence space. His explore page on Instagram, many of his searches began to be about artificial intelligence, AI. And before you know it, it's even on YouTube. If you start watching maybe movies on food, suggestions begins to be about food. If you watch movies, if you start watching things on clothing, it begins to be about clothing, how to be more stylish, things like that. So just make your space, like sort of overwhelm your natural mind. I heard that phrase from someone. Overwhelm your natural mind, because you need to like kick out that old thing and make this new thing more desirable. Eventually the whole thing becomes a cycle: cue, craving, response, and reward at the end of the day. So that's how you do it.
And of course, the second law says make it easy, which is quite connected to the first one, which says make it
obvious.
Make it obvious. So it says make it easy. Oh yeah, the third one says make it attractive. Of course, make it satisfying. So I think they're all connected.
They're all connected, because if it's not enough to make it obvious, your running shoes can't just be there. You have to also make it easy in terms of, okay, I'm going to run. I'm not normally a runner. You don't want to start running and then somebody's coming to pick you up from the bridge. So you make the habit easy, because when it's easy, it's satisfying. When it's satisfying, you're just able to keep on repeating it. So it's like with the running shoes. Once you wake up, you're seeing your running shoes there, and even if you wanted to like, deny the running shoes, you're going again, you're seeing your sports shirts, your sports shoes, and you're like, I just have to do this today.
Imagine if you had to wake up in the morning and you start maybe lifting your bed to find your running shoes.
You're going to have excuses. So many excuses. Once you've seen the running shoes, that's the make it obvious part. To the make it easy part, you say, you know what, today is 5 minutes. No more than 5 minutes. That way there are no excuses, because it's like, it's just 5 minutes. I'm the kind of person that runs. It's just 5 minutes. It's not going to be too much. So you just get out there. 5 minutes, no excuses, you're back. It's satisfying because it's so easy. So you're able to do it again another day. So that's how you just make it obvious, make it easy, make it satisfying. I think what's the last one again?
Make it attractive, make it easy,
make it attractive. So the attractive part to be, okay, when I come back from the running, I'm going to do something nice. I'm going to take a smoothie. I'm going to maybe eat a banana, eat something nice, because not that you're going to eat apple. You don't want to get back to, you don't want to do plus 1 minus 5. But just basically just something. Or I could even just, if I come back today and I ran, I'm going to play a song I like, just something to just, I did this when I ran, I'm not going to do this again today.
You know how you attach that habit to something positive, something positive.
Satisfying. You even mentioned something in the book about attaching a new habit to an old habit.
That habit stacking.
Let's
even get straight to that, because we're trying to make sure
we don't
have to give them too much, because you need to read that book.
You need to read it. Before they'll not come and be watching this episode as the motivational video.
No, please. You need to get yourself a copy and read the book. So habit stacking, for example. Let's say you want to form a habit. Look for habits you have already. So attach that habit to the other one. Let's say, for example, you want to
read more.
Read more.
You can attach it to eating. Anytime I'm done eating my lunch, I just read 5 pages, because you still have to make it easy. Remember, following these steps honestly work.
It works.
Just 5 pages, and you're like, okay, when I'm done eating, before I get up from the table, I'll just read page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, and I'm done. Every single time I eat in a day, maybe you eat 3 times if you're lucky in second. You've read 15 pages. In fact, if 15 is too much, you can break it 3. You've read 9 pages, which, coming from someone that needs to read at all, it's quite nice. It's the 1% we're talking about, the daily 1%.
Yeah, because the rationale here is that one habit is already there. You cannot miss it. Let's say brushing your teeth.
You must brush your teeth.
You can say, after brushing my teeth, I will read. Before you know it, you're brushing your teeth every morning. Once you're done brushing your teeth, you go straight to reading. Before you know it, in 5 days, you finished a book that would have taken you maybe 1 week or
even the brushing teeth, because I think brushing teeth for many Africans or Nigerians is so hard. That night brushing, it's like, okay, every single time I'm done eating my meal at night, I must brush. And it also helps when you're trying to maybe cut down on night eating, because once you've brushed, there's this laziness to go back and eat. It's like, okay, I've brushed, my mouth is clean, I can't go back and eat again. It's just attach it to something you're already doing, and before you know, it becomes a part of you. So
I remember he told a story of Victor Hugo, who was on a tight deadline to complete a book, and he didn't know what to do. What did he do? He separated himself. He went to a room far from his own house, where there was no gadgets, no nothing. So I also went just with a few a pair of clothes and a shoe. So there was no other distraction, nothing else to do other than to write. So that's what it boils down to environment again now.
Yes, environment
When you want to
is
achieve
important.
something, you can even separate yourself from where you are. If it's your phone, you can, yes, that brings me to that example of people that want to wake. It just clicked now. Let's say you want to wake up in the morning, you set your alarm. Normally, people will just snooze the alarm and continue sleeping. But let's say you are in the bedroom and your phone is in the living room. Once the alarm, or maybe your phone is some meters away from your bed, you have to stand
This
up.
would not work when you're living with people, by the way.
Anyway, of course,
Let
you
people know it's
cannot try that. I mean, if you are living alone, for
Yeah,
example,
that
you can
makes
keep
sense.
your phone away from
It's going to be
you,
so annoying.
so some meters away from your bed. So you'll be forced to stand up
That works.
and go and
I'm
pick
gonna
your
try
phone.
that this week and see what happens.
You see, as I said, it's also learning.
Yeah, definitely. Because
But
it's actually so hard. That snooze button is
Yeah,
so easy to
so
press.
it's just him
Just-
snooze.
Even when the phone is right beside you, like, what's this one? What's this? Why are you ringing in my ear?
But if you have to stand up to go and pick it,
Yes.
snooze or dismiss, by the time you walk from here to that place, I mean, you're tired of sleeping.
You can even drink a cup of water. Next thing you know, you're ready to start the day.
And that's how you've been able to break time with sleep all of a sudden, simply by walking open a few meters away from your
Yeah.
bed to pick your phone. I mean, this book makes you feel like habits forming and habits breaking.
It's not that difficult.
not that difficult.
It makes you feel like it's possible.
Yeah.
And it kind of eventually affects your discipline
Yeah.
as a person. Because I feel like once you're able to like break the barrier on one habit, like form a habit or break a habit, you begin to think, you know what, I can do this for other things. I can be that person. Because again, it actually just, works with your
mindset,
identity and your
identity,
mindset. And thinking,
yeah.
I can be the person that forms habits easily. Oh.
Because there are laid down steps, step by just do this,
And
do
like,
this,
when I
do
was
that.
reading this book, to be honest, like on a personal note, since I'm reading this book, I've been trying to ensure like no matter what happens, I must work out at least, no matter how short it is. This morning, I was like, what is to come to work early in the morning?
Yeah.
Do you know I did my 10 minutes cardio this morning?
See?
I finished cooking and I was like, I just can't just shower and then dress up. Like, I just have to ensure that I'm the person that just does my 10 minutes cardio. At least, if I'm not doing my 10 minutes cardio, I must do my 5 minutes stretch. But I must just do something. I must give myself something.
Because
And
in your mind, you identify as somebody that does
it's been
this.
forming. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, it's been forming. Like, no matter how it is, if I don't do it early in the morning, I'm like, because I was thinking, I might come back from work tired. Let me just do it this morning. It's just 10 minutes. It's just 10 minutes. And that's the thing. It's easy. It's just 10 minutes. And that's what happens. I end up doing it daily.
And just so you know, there's a chapter in this book that talks about procrastination. That's why you need to get the book because we're not talking about it today.
Grab a copy
Get a
now.
copy because there's a chapter
Grab
that
a copy
focuses
now.
on if you are a chronic procrastinator.
What if they procrastinate and they don't read the book? Please don't do that. I'm just
so funny.
joking. Don't do that.
So you can get yourself a copy. That's a chapter that is dedicated to procrastination with tips, steps, everything you need to
It's like James
break.
Clare really went through the whole demographic and all that. They are just people that will just give an excuse.
Yeah, so
Let's deal with you.
he made sure that he covered all grounds. No stone was left unturned
Definitely.
in this book. And there's the 2 minutes rule or 2 minutes rule that was discussed in this book. How you can break down habits into 2 minutes. The first 2 minutes. If you can achieve the first 2 minutes over time. I'm trying not to give you a lot because this book.
Because you need to feel like a TED talk.
Yeah.
What you need to do this. You must read the book.
You need to
This
read
is the
the book.
bookish plan, and we read here.
And it is not fiction. It's non-fiction. You need to calm down.
Yeah.
Get yourself a comfortable space, calm down, and read Atomic Habits by James Clear. And it's not like a one-time read. No, I read
Definitely
and toss
not.
away. You can go back to it time
Because
and
there are
time
nuggets
again.
to keep repeating.
Yeah.
Because it's more of like a step-by-step book, an action book. Let me call it an action book. Non-fiction, you can just fiction. You can non-fiction rather.
Yeah, it's non-fiction.
Fiction. So for fiction, you can just read the book and be like, okay, yeah, that was an interesting story.
I'm done with the story.
But for non-fiction, they're especially this kind, it's more of an action kind of thing. So you could even first of all read like maybe the first chapter or the chapter on cue cravings, rewards, and all of
Response,
that. Then you just practice it, come back. There's another one he does on attaching positive, negative, equal sign, neutral points to your habits. You could do that. Just do one thing for like a week or 2 weeks, come back, see your improvements, continue, just take it like a devotional kind of, something you want to just be checking daily and making sure that it's your guide to like living ish. Yeah.
Well, Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Really unpacked a lot.
Do you have any criticism for this book? Because the way we've praised it, there are actually two sides to a coin, actually. So is here another side to this coin? Do you think that there was something that could have been done better, or he shouldn't have done? Maybe done it a different way about this particular book?
I mostly really enjoyed the book. I think I mostly enjoyed it. Maybe some parts have been cut out. I don't know. Did you feel like it was over explaining?
No,
Some people might feel that way, but I think for like a book that you want, it's like what's my mother saying? Here, how many times did I say that thing? How many times did I say it? What did I say? Good. I think he was just trying to do that. He was trying to ensure that the readers were really, really getting like, okay, I said this like this in version A. I will say it again in version B. But for people who maybe are looking for like a very quick read, and but it's not really that long.
It's not
really
long, though.
but the repetition might be somehow for some people. But I think for a book that is about habits, and habits are like the goal of habits is repetition. James Clear is just doing what he needs to do. You need it. You need that repetition. In case you miss it in chapter 1, you will find it again
in chapter
5.
13 or somewhere.
Yeah.
Before you end the book, he will kind of remind you of things that you saw in previous chapters. Okay, that guy is a very good writer anyway. Kudos to him. I saw somewhere, I think on Twitter, someone said that book could be summarized into a blog post. You agree?
Not really.
Like a blog
because
post.
I think, to be honest, if you remove maybe the stories, because if you notice, like almost every chapter had a story about somebody. He was using someone to like, just paint a picture of what he was trying to talk about. If you take out the stories, it might be very condensed, but the stories made it easier to read, especially if you're not a non-fiction reader on a normal day. I find like personally, I lean more to the fiction side. So to read a non-fiction book, it really has this, the writing style has to be very engaging, has to be something that, it's just very interesting. So the examples, the people made it very, very nice to read. And I don't really have a problem with that.
That's how you identify non-readers anyway. They always have a lot to say about most works, especially things that don't really make sense. Because tell me how you can summarize those 4 laws of behavioral change into a blog post.
Maybe you can.
You actually can, but will it make
the following and this is skill craving ...
So how will you understand it properly if you don't read those stories that James Clear used to exemplify each law and how it works?
So no more.
Well, to each their own anyway. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
That's the opinion, and I respect that. Do I? I do.
You don't.
Anyway, well, that's it.
It's been so lovely.
Yeah.
For a non-fiction read, I think this has been a very interesting summary, very interesting book review. Because usually non-fiction reads have this very serious vibe.
Yeah, we have to.
Okay, so in chapter 1,
about the characters.
This was the motivation. But this has been very, very. I think it's credit to James Clear's writing style, because to even be able to like bring back things and apply things as soon as you're reading it, it's a lovely book. Honestly, if you're looking for a book to read this year, even if it's one non-fiction book, just one. I don't know why you want to read one book this year. But even if it's just one, I think it's a nice book to read, because you can just, again, take it small, take it easy. 1 chapter per week. It doesn't even have to be per day. Just go that way, and before you know, you have read the entire book and you can still reread it, and a lot would have happened with you. So yeah.
Okay, well, this is where we'll draw the curtain for today's episode of the Bookish Clan. Thank you for staying with us. Next week,
another book.
Another book. This one. It's quite a long read.
But it's interesting.
It is, actually.
It is interesting,
but let's not let the cat out of the bag yet. We're reading 1984 by George Orwell. Next week, you can read ahead and get ready with us as we discuss that book. It's amazing, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. If you read
like Animal Farm, you should know that it's going to be a classic.
George Orwell is such.
He's a writer.
Let's leave for it.
They are writers and they are writers. He's a writer.
He is actually. He knows ball.
All right.
Anyway, if you have any comments, suggestions, book suggestions that you want us to read and analyze here on the Bookish Clan, just send us a comment on social media pages. We'll gladly take your questions, your comments, or suggestions for our subsequent episodes.
Or even on today's episode, if you have anything to say,
comments,
if you've read the book and you have a favorite line or something you've been practicing and you want to let us know, please let us know.
Yeah. Well, it's been nice staying with you guys. I'm still Emmanuel Ebo, and of course,
Sonia.
We'll see you next week, and until then, bye.